Think about the smartphone in your pocket.
Why are we talking about phones?
When its battery drops to 5%, it desperately seeks a charger. It alters its behavior, dims its screen, shuts down essential functions just to survive until it can be plugged back into the grid. What if I told you that, well, you are the exact same thing?
That is a completely absurd comparison.
Humanity is currently trapped by a catastrophic systemic bug in our societal operating system. We are locked inside a login-required death game, where the mere act of breathing incurs a license fee.
Calling modern civilization a systemic bug completely ignores the reality of historical progress.
The escape hatch of offline self-sufficiency has been physically deleted from the planet. We're left with a single, unlog-outable default setting, which is that living inherently incurs costs. Today we are debating the true nature of modern labor and civilization. Is our societal architecture a mechanism for human progress, as you claim?
Which it objectively is. We have systematically eradicated the mass suffering of our ancestors in favor of unprecedented growth.
Or is it an inescapable subscription-type servitude where the life support layer of Earth has been entirely commodified? I represent the cold, systemic reality here. Our current economic operating system is malware, installed directly onto the human survival instinct.
You are deliberately ignoring the brutal, unforgiving mechanics of the default human condition. Civilization is the ultimate user experience.
We are no longer free, autonomous biological beings. We have been degraded into hardware, wandering the city looking for a charger, desperate to plug our labor into a market simply to keep our biological screens from going dark. The system demands continuous, frictionless extraction of our energy, and it enforces this extraction by holding our fundamental right to exist hostage behind a paywall.
That is such a dystopian framing. Before this system, humanity endured what you might call the thrilling stray life, running from wild predators, dying of minor bacterial infections, starving the absolute moment the seasons turned cold. We traded that terrifying terminal existence for security and comfort.
You mistake the illusion of choice for actual autonomy. The system simply digitized our chains to make them sparkle.
The structures you condemn are precisely what allow us to thrive. Career paths, personal development, self-realization.
Self-responsibility is a brilliant psychological trick. It's engineered to push the hassle of self-management entirely onto the individual. Let us examine the mechanics of this so-called choice.
Individuals possess fundamental agency and the absolute right to corner oneself through hard work to achieve personal success.
Look at the gig economy. A driver for a rideshare app claims, "I am my own boss. I set my own hours." In reality, they are manipulated by gamified algorithms, surge pricing, and tier statuses that extract maximum labor at minimum cost. People proudly claim, "I am building my career by my own will," while they are helplessly trapped in a high-resolution prison so deeply comfortable they forget they're slaves.
Consider a software engineer earning $150,000 a year, or an individual who decides to work 80 hours a week to launch a startup. They are not acting as a battery for a machine. They are exercising the ultimate human privilege.
Your startup founder is the tragic epitome of the system's success.
The right to direct their own intellect and suffering toward a chosen goal. They actively, voluntarily choose the weight they carry to build an enterprise that solves real problems.
Mechanically, how is that software engineer or founder having their energy extracted? Because they take that $150,000 salary and are immediately forced to sink it into $1 million mortgage just to afford a physical space near the server room. The office. The system convinced them that their extreme self-exploitation is an act of rebellion.
The fear of losing a Wi-Fi signal or a credit score is a gross trivialization of human ambition and the very real safety nets we have built.
In reality, they are merely optimizing their own energy extraction. The choices you champion are curated selections from a predefined menu where walking out of the restaurant is strictly prohibited. By shifting the enforcement of labor from physical violence to structural necessity, the system ensures compliance without the friction of rebellion. The worker disciplines themselves.
Society is actively and consciously managed by human beings, not some invisible extraction machine.
It is structured by states, by democratically elected governments, by central banks, and by CEOs who carefully design the system for social development.
There is no grand human mastermind. The state is merely a hired store manager. It functions as the front office for a system that answers to no human authority. The true ruler is an intangible god, a global capital circulation algorithm.
These entities provide the stability required for the very civilization you are criticizing. There is human oversight driving this progress, directing capital to solve human problems from green energy transitions to global logistics. When a central bank adjusts interest rates, it is mathematically intervening to prevent economic collapse and protect the public.
We are all passengers on a ghost train equipped with a bug-ridden autopilot, accelerating infinitely with absolutely no one in the cockpit. You cannot look at the deliberate actions of global leaders and call the cockpit empty. CEOs make strategic, visionary decisions that alter the course of human development. They hold the levers of power. They are the ones steering the train, mitigating disasters, and plotting the coordinates for future human flourishing. They are accountable strictly to the algorithm of infinite growth. They are highly paid maintenance workers. Let us look at the mechanics of your visionary CEO. If a CEO decides to prioritize human well-being, ecological stability, or community health over quarterly shareholder returns, what happens? They are accountable to boards, to shareholders, to the public. The market algorithm immediately expels them. Their stock plummets, the board fires them, and they are replaced by a node willing to optimize the extraction. These politicians and so-called elites who genuinely believe they've escaped the parameters of the system are merely honor student hamsters running in a deluxe hamster wheel with AC. They are the top-tier addicts of the system.
You are stripping humanity of its fundamental capacity to govern itself. The regulations, the social safety nets, the international labor treaties, these are deliberate, conscious interventions to correct market failures and protect human dignity. We implemented the 40-hour workweek. We abolished child labor.
They do not control the algorithm. They are simply the nodes most deeply integrated into it, desperately feeding it optimized data to prevent their own expulsion. They are forced to maintain the illusion of control while being entirely subjugated by the mathematical necessity of accumulation, a conscious collective functioning entirely within the parameters of a self-replicating trap. These are not the automated actions of a ghost train. They are the actions of a conscious collective striving to build a more equitable world. The interventions you cite are just software patches designed to keep the server from crashing so the extraction of human energy can continue uninterrupted. The state's primary function is to optimize the workforce to ensure the biological batteries do not deplete entirely before they can be replaced. Every policy, every social safety net you applaud is a calculated investment to prevent the workforce from realizing the fundamental game is rigged against their biological reality.
People's labor is deeply meaningful on a personal, emotional level. You are turning human life into a dystopian equation, but everyday people work to provide for their families. They work to experience the pleasure of consumption, to enjoy art, to travel, to build a life of texture and memory.
You invoke the family to mask the system's cruelest genius. Everyone is simultaneously a perpetrator and a victim. You speak of the pleasure of consumption, but that consumption is merely a localized anesthetic administered to treat the trauma of the labor required to afford it.
It is not a global casino holding human survival hostage. It is a collaborative enterprise where we trade our time to create a world where our children can live better, safer lives.
The reality is micro-despair. Let us examine the cognitive load of the average worker. They are forced to allocate 100% of their cognitive resources to putting out the immediate fire of this month's payment. This hyper-focus on immediate survival, managing rent, utilities, credit card debt, healthcare premiums. It leaves them absolutely no bandwidth to consider who the arsonist is.
People have weekends. They have time to reflect, to philosophize, to connect with their communities. The survival instinct is satisfied efficiently by our agricultural and logistical networks, precisely so we can pursue higher actualization.
This engineered lack of time to think is the strongest security of this system. It prevents the nodes from recognizing the network architecture.
We solved the problem of scarcity that plagued our species for millennia. We monetized distribution to manage it efficiently.
You call it efficient distribution. The The system calls it commodifying the life support layer. Everything that used to be free, the water, the land, the basic requirements for biological life, is now someone's property. The system enclosed the commons. It effectively monetized the biological necessities of the human animal, thereby requiring a re-entry fee just to survive on the planet you were born on.
Stepping offline, wherefore this system meant exactly the same thing. It meant starving in the winter or dying of a tooth abscess. You act as though nature was a benevolent landlord.
Look at property taxes. Even if you manage to purchase a plot of land outright, you are legally required to pay an annual fee to the state just to exist on it. How do you generate the capital to pay that fee? You must re-enter the labor market. Participating in society is no longer an option. It is a mandatory subscription, maintained strictly because stepping offline, refusing to pay the re-entry fee, means physical death by starvation or exposure.
Thousands of years of human learning, of scientific breakthrough, have been used to expand freedom and improve our lives. We have cured diseases. We have connected the globe. The pursuit of convenience is the pursuit of liberating human time from agonizing drudgery.
The true nature of human knowledge was never about expanding freedom. The entirety of our technological and societal advancement was focused deliberately on how to physically eliminate the escape hatch and improve the user experience of slavery.
You cannot look at the eradication of smallpox, the development of global communication networks, or the mapping of the human genome and call it an improved user experience of slavery. It is the literal expansion of human capability and the conquering of the natural forces that used to indiscriminately slaughter us.
The goal was to siphon energy from the masses without them noticing the extraction. If an individual today attempts to step out of this system, to live off the grid, to forage, to build a shelter on unused land, they are immediately met with the physical violence of the state. They are arrested for trespassing, for tax evasion, for violating zoning ordinances. The escape hatch has been welded shut. Inescapable forms of cognitive labor, the desire for convenience, and the biological survival instinct are the exact vulnerabilities the system exploited to install its architecture. The stress, the friction, the empty, agonizing competitive spirit to live better than the slave next door. These emotional responses act as the actual biofuel for the machine.
I look at the overwhelming mechanized reality you describe, this inescapable subscription to misery, and I absolutely refuse to accept it as the totality of our existence. Even if we are operating within a highly structured economic framework, even if there are immense systemic pressures, the human capacity to find meaning, to love, to build within this theme park called labor cannot be entirely dismissed as a delusion.
We optimize the chains to make them invisible. The system thrives on the friction of our desires, converting our exhaustion into capital accumulation. You argue that technology serves us, yet every advancement in automation simply raises the baseline of productivity demanded from the human hardware.
We are not just biological batteries generating friction for a ghost train. We are the architects of our own lives. We possess the intellect and the moral drive to alter, reform, and humanize the structures we live within. We can rewrite the code.
The existing operating system, based entirely on ownership, accumulation, and infinite extraction, is a hell accelerating, with absolutely no one taking responsibility. It mathematically cannot be reformed by patching its edges. It requires a systemic rewrite. Transitioning to circular capitalism, a system mathematically grounded in resource regeneration rather than exponential extraction, where the concept of waste is eliminated and the extraction parameters are fundamentally redesigned, is not a moral choice. It is the only rational investment for survival, as the current mechanism inevitably collapses under its own mathematical impossibilities. We are trapped in a login-required death game. And the ultimate chilling punchline of human civilization is this: instead of canceling this unlog-outable game, we actively set our alarm clock so we don't oversleep, voluntarily renewing our subscription to this hellish system every single day.